Picture this. Two men walk into a cafe. The first guy sees a beautiful woman sitting alone. His heart starts racing. This is his chance. He walks over, smiling a little too eagerly. "You're stunning," he says. "I'd love to take you out sometime." He's polite, he's interested, maybe too interested. He asks about her day, offers to buy her coffee, leans in slightly, waiting desperately for her approval. But something feels off. She forces a polite smile, thanks him, but her eyes, they're already looking past him. Now the second guy. He steps in, cool and composed. He doesn't scan the room, doesn't seek attention. He orders his drink and sits down without acknowledging anyone. He's not rude, just focused. His body language says everything. I'm here for myself, not for anyone else. And guess what? Within minutes, the woman who brushed off the first guy can't stop glancing at him. She's intrigued. Why isn't he trying to impress me? Why does he seem so unbothered? What does he have going on that's more important than me? By the time she leaves, she barely remembers the first guy. But the second, he's burned into her mind. Why? Because women are wired to chase what they can't have. And the man who embodies Stoicism, the man who is calm, detached, and in full control of himself, is the one she desires the most. This isn't about playing games. It's about understanding value, scarcity, and power. And today, I'll break down exactly why Stoic men drive women crazy, and why they simply don't care. Welcome to Stoic Spirit, the channel where we break down the principles of power, discipline, and control, so you can master not just your relationships, but your entire life. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because we drop powerful insights like this every week. Now, stay locked in. You don't want to miss this. Part 1. Women crave what they can't have. Let's start with a fundamental truth. People desire what feels just out of reach. This isn't just some dating trick. It's deeply wired into human psychology. The moment something becomes too accessible, too predictable, too easy, its value plummets. Think about it. Why do luxury brands price themselves ridiculously high? Why do people obsess over VIP sections, exclusivity, and things that are just out of their grasp? Because scarcity creates value. Now apply this to relationships. If a woman knows you're always available, always texting first, always dropping everything to respond, she stops valuing your presence. Not because she's cruel, not because she's playing games, but because her brain is wired to seek what's uncertain, what feels earned, what feels rare. That's why the moment a man puts a woman on a pedestal, prioritizing her over his own purpose, he unknowingly kills her attraction. But here's where it gets interesting. If you're focused on your own mission, if you're busy, if your world doesn't revolve around her, something shifts. She starts wondering, why isn't he chasing me like other guys? What makes him different? What does he have going on that's more important than me? And the second a woman starts asking those questions, she's already emotionally invested. You don't prove your worth. You don't convince her. You exist as a man of value, and she feels it. A Stoic man understands this. He doesn't rush to impress. He doesn't overgive his attention. He doesn't seek validation. He doesn't need to, because his presence alone is enough. And paradoxically, that's what makes women chase him. Not because he's cold, not because he's playing some childish hard-to-get game, but because he radiates something incredibly rare: self-sufficiency. Most men operate from a place of neediness. They think if they can just give more, text more, be more available, they'll win her over. But the truth is, when a woman doesn't have to earn your presence, she stops valuing it. This is why the guy who constantly showers her with compliments, plans dates around her schedule, and adjusts his life to accommodate hers, often gets overlooked. Meanwhile, the man who is busy, who responds when he feels like it, who lives his life on his own terms, is the one she can't stop thinking about. Because in her mind, he is a prize. She feels like she has to work for his attention, and that effort, that's what fuels her attraction. The more she invests, the more she values you. The more she wonders, the more she wants to figure you out. That's how the human mind works. We don't obsess over what is handed to us. We obsess over what we must earn. A man who embodies Stoicism doesn't chase. He doesn't need to. He simply lives in his own world, on his own path, and women naturally gravitate toward that energy. He doesn't look at a woman as a goal to achieve. He looks at himself as the goal. His life is not a quest to win her over. His life is a mission, and she can either add value to it or be left behind. That's the difference. The moment a woman sees that you don't need her to feel whole, to feel confident, to feel important, she starts craving your validation, because in a world where men constantly seek approval, a man who doesn't need it, that's rare, that's valuable, that's irresistible. Part 2. A Stoic man's attention is earned, not given. Most men make the mistake of treating their attention like it's free. They hand it out without a second thought, flooding a woman with compliments, always checking in, always being available at her convenience. They text her non-stop, like all her pictures, and drop everything just to see her. They believe that by giving more, they'll get more in return, that if they show how much they care, she'll reciprocate. But what actually happens? She takes them for granted, not because she's cruel, not because she's ungrateful, but because attention that is freely given has no value. When something is always available, it becomes ordinary, expected, unremarkable. Think about it. When was the last time you truly appreciated air? You don't, because it's everywhere. But what happens when it's taken away? Suddenly, it's the only thing that matters. That's exactly how attraction works. Now, imagine a man who values himself differently. He doesn't flood her inbox. He doesn't validate her with endless attention. He doesn't treat her like the center of his world. He doesn't text first, just to keep the conversation going. He responds when he feels like it, not out of obligation, but because he actually has things going on. His life is full, with or without her. And if she wants his time, his energy, his focus, she has to earn it. That's the man she wants. Not the one who's desperate for her approval. Not the one who treats her like a goddess while treating himself like a servant. But the one who respects his own time, his own value, and his own path. Because here's the truth. Women respect what they have to work for. If your attention is too easy to get, it loses its meaning. If she knows she has you wrapped around her finger, she won't chase you. She'll start looking for someone she actually has to win over. A Stoic man's attention is a privilege, not a guarantee. He's not rude. He's not playing games. He's simply aware that his time, his focus, and his presence are valuable. And the more rare something is, the more valuable it becomes. This is why women are drawn to men who don't make them their priority. It's why they chase after the guy who doesn't respond immediately. It's why they can't stop thinking about the man who doesn't always give them what they want. Because his attention means something. A Stoic man never overextends himself to win a woman over. He understands that attraction isn't built on excessive giving, but on strategic scarcity. The less he gives freely, the more she craves it. The less available he is, the more she values the moments he actually gives her attention. That's why the men who keep their focus on their own mission, who make women a complement to their lives, not the center of it, always command more respect, more admiration, and more desire. If you want to change the way women see you, stop giving yourself away so easily. Start respecting your own time. Stop making yourself too available. Stop thinking that overgiving will win her heart. Instead, become the man who makes her earn it. The moment you do, you'll realize something powerful. You never had to chase. You just had to step into your own value. Part 3. Why indifference is the ultimate attraction trigger. Ever notice how women seem to be drawn to men who don't seem to care? The guy who isn't blowing up her phone, who isn't rearranging his life to fit into hers, who doesn't react to every little thing she does, that's the one she can't stop thinking about. And yet the man who puts in all the effort, who constantly checks in, who tries his hardest to win her over, is the one who gets ignored. This isn't a coincidence, it's psychological. Attraction isn't about logic, it's about emotion. When a woman knows exactly where she stands with you, when there's no uncertainty, no challenge, no thrill, there's no excitement. But when she's unsure, when she can't quite figure you out, when she has to second guess whether she has your full attention or not, her attraction skyrockets. The unknown triggers curiosity. Curiosity leads to obsession. And that's why men who remain indifferent, who don't need her validation, who aren't easily swayed, always have the upper hand. A Stoic man doesn't play games. He doesn't act indifferent just to get a reaction. He's indifferent because he genuinely doesn't care whether she likes him or not. Not because he's heartless, not because he's manipulative, but because his life isn't about her. He doesn't base his sense of worth on a woman's attention. He doesn't sit around waiting for a text. He doesn't chase after something that isn't naturally gravitating toward him. His priority is himself, his purpose, his growth, his path. And paradoxically, this mindset makes women crave him even more. Because unlike most men, he's not emotionally reactive. He's not needy. He's not looking for her approval. In a world where men are desperate for attention, he's the one man who truly doesn't need it. The moment a woman realizes you're not desperate, that you're not waiting on her, that you're completely fine on your own, she starts chasing. Not because she suddenly decided to like you more, but because she feels something rare, the desire to earn your attention. That's the power of indifference. Think about it. Have you ever texted someone and gotten an instant response every single time? It's predictable. It's easy. It doesn't create anticipation. But what happens when someone takes their time? When they're not always available? When you're not sure if they're even interested? That's when you start thinking about them more. That's when they start occupying space in your mind. It's not about being rude. It's about being selective. Men who have mastered this don't rush to fill silence. They don't panic if a woman pulls back. They don't try to prove themselves. Instead, they remain calm, composed, unshaken. If she loses interest, so be it. If she stops responding, that's her loss. If she plays games, he doesn't participate. And because he doesn't react, he stands out. Indifference isn't about pretending. It's about genuinely living a life where you don't need anyone's approval, where your confidence doesn't come from external validation, where you are so deeply focused on your own mission that women become a bonus, not the center of your world. And once a woman senses that your attention isn't easy to get, that your focus isn't easily swayed, that your life is already fulfilling without her, she starts craving something she never thought she'd have to work for. Your time. Part 4. Why women are drawn to men that other women want. There's another psychological trigger that makes a Stoic man irresistible, something so powerful that it influences attraction at an unconscious level. Social proof. Women don't just judge a man based on his looks, his words, or even his confidence. They judge him based on how others perceive him, especially other women. If a woman sees that other women want you, she immediately assumes you have value. If no one seems interested, she assumes there's a reason for that. Attraction isn't just personal, it's socially reinforced. That's why high-status men, celebrities, athletes, successful entrepreneurs never have to chase. Women are drawn to them not just because of their success, but because they're already desired. Their status isn't just about their achievements, it's about the fact that others have validated them. They don't have to prove themselves because the world already sees them as valuable. Now, how do you apply this if you're not famous, not a millionaire, and not a celebrity? Simple. You build a life where people respect you. You create an identity that makes people gravitate toward you. You surround yourself with high-quality people. You have standards, and you never compromise them. If a woman sees that you're socially desirable, whether through your friendships, your influence, or even just the way others respond to you, her perception of you changes. She starts to see you differently, even if she didn't before. It's not manipulation, it's human nature. This is why men who are always alone, who seem isolated, who have no strong social connections, struggle with attraction. Because if no one else is interested in them, women instinctively assume there's something off. The subconscious message is clear. If he was truly valuable, other women would already see it. But when a man naturally commands attention, when women compete for his time, when he carries himself with confidence, when he's surrounded by people who admire and respect him, everything shifts. Women are drawn to men that other women want because it signals pre-selection. It tells her that you have something rare, something worth pursuing, something that she might miss out on. This is why the same man can go from being ignored to being pursued the moment he enters a relationship. Suddenly, women who never noticed him before start wondering why she chose him. They start questioning what makes him special. They start feeling like they're missing out on something they never paid attention to before. It's not magic. It's psychology. The key here is to stop acting like a man who needs attention and start becoming a man who naturally attracts it. That means building yourself into someone others respect. That means developing charisma, confidence, and the ability to hold your own in any social setting. That means walking into a room and owning the space, not by trying to impress, but by being so grounded in your own value that people naturally gravitate toward you. A Stoic man doesn't chase approval. He doesn't need validation from a woman because he's already validated by the way he lives his life. And when women sense that, they don't just notice, they compete. Part 5. A man's purpose must always come first. This is the ultimate rule of masculinity. Your mission comes before any woman. It doesn't matter how beautiful she is, how much she says she cares about you, or how much attention she gives you. If you abandon your purpose for her, you will lose her respect. Too many men make the mistake of making women their priority. They start strong, with ambitions, goals, and discipline, but the moment they enter a relationship, they shift their focus. They drop their goals, they abandon their purpose. They start adjusting their schedule around her, making themselves available at all times, treating the relationship as if it's the most important thing in their life. And what happens? She loses respect for them. Not because she wanted to, not because she planned to, but because women are wired to be drawn to men who have a greater mission. The moment she realizes she's become your priority over your own growth, she stops seeing you as a leader. She starts feeling like you need her more than she needs you. And nothing kills attraction faster than a man who places his entire identity in a woman. A Stoic man never falls into this trap. He doesn't sacrifice his ambitions for approval. He doesn't rearrange his life to accommodate someone else's emotions. He stays disciplined. He stays focused. He stays unshakable. His sense of purpose is non-negotiable. His mission comes first. Women don't want a man who revolves around them. They don't want a man who makes them the center of his world. They may say they want that. They may believe they want that. But deep down, they crave a man who has his own path, his own goals, his own world. They want a man who is so committed to his own greatness that he doesn't need them. He simply chooses them if they bring value. A man's purpose is what defines his presence. It's what gives him the ability to walk away. It's what keeps him grounded and untouchable. When a man is on his mission, he doesn't have time to chase. He doesn't have time to constantly prove himself. He doesn't get emotionally derailed by a woman's shifting moods, by whether she texts back, by whether she's acting different. He remains steadfast because his energy is directed toward something bigger than her. This is the difference between a man who commands respect and a man who gets walked over. One is driven by a purpose greater than himself. The other is driven by the need to be accepted. And the hard truth, the second man, the one who sacrifices his ambition to make her happy, is the one she eventually leaves. Not because she wanted to, but because she can't admire a man who puts her above his own growth. Women want to be a part of a great man's world, not the reason he gave up on it. They want to feel like they're joining something powerful, not replacing something weak. If you lose yourself in a woman, she won't be your reward, she will be your punishment. But when you stay firm in your mission, when you make it clear that your life is already complete with or without her, something changes. She stops being the one who gets to decide. You do. A woman should never be your purpose. She should be a complement to your purpose. If she aligns with it, she can join you. If she doesn't, you move forward anyway. That's what makes a man truly powerful, and that's what makes a Stoic man unshakable. If you understand this, you're already ahead of 90% of men, but understanding isn't enough. You have to embody it. And that's exactly what we'll cover next. Part 6, Final Challenge. Become the man women respect. Let's be clear. This isn't about playing mind games. This isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. And it's definitely not about manipulating women. This is about something far more important, becoming a man of true value. A man who doesn't need to chase, doesn't need to beg for approval, and doesn't need to prove his worth. Because he already knows it. When you become that man, when you embody Stoic principles, when you stop letting emotions dictate your actions and start living with purpose and discipline, here's what happens. You stop chasing, and women start chasing you. They notice your energy, your presence, your self-assurance. They recognize that you're different, not desperate, not seeking validation, not bending over backward for attention. And that makes you irresistible. You become the prize instead of putting her on a pedestal. Most men make the mistake of treating women as their ultimate goal, as if their entire worth depends on winning her over. But the moment you flip that mindset, the moment you see yourself as the prize, everything changes. You stop seeing women as something to obtain and start seeing yourself as the standard to be met. You gain respect, not just from women, but from everyone. Because the truth is, the way you carry yourself in relationships is the way you carry yourself in life. If you're weak, if you're constantly seeking approval, if you're desperate for acceptance, people sense it, and they treat you accordingly. But if you're strong, if you're grounded, if you refuse to compromise your values, people, men and women alike, start respecting you on a deeper level. Now here's your challenge. Stop seeking validation. Stop letting the attention of women dictate your mood, your confidence, your self-worth. Stop measuring your success by how much female interest you can generate. Instead, seek validation from yourself, from your actions, from your achievements, from the man you see in the mirror. Stop over-giving your attention. Your time is valuable. Your energy is valuable. Your focus is valuable. Don't waste it on women who haven't earned it. Stop texting first all the time. Stop double texting. Stop acting like a woman's presence in your life is some kind of reward you should be grateful for. You are not a beggar. You are a builder. Stop making women your priority. Not because women aren't important, not because relationships don't matter, but because your mission comes first. Your growth, your goals, your success, those are what define you. And the moment you make a woman more important than that, you've already lost. Don't just listen to this and do nothing. Apply it, live it, and watch how your life changes. Instead, build yourself. Become the kind of man who doesn't need attention, who doesn't need approval, who doesn't need to chase. Become the kind of man who is so deeply focused on his own journey that women naturally want to be part of it. Women don't choose men who need them. They choose men who don't. And when you become that man, women will follow. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever noticed that the moment you stop caring, women start chasing? Have you ever experienced the power of detachment? The moment you stopped giving too much, and suddenly people started valuing you more. Drop a comment below. I'll be reading and responding because these conversations matter. But more importantly, take a step back and reflect. Everything we've talked about today isn't just about dating. It's about how you carry yourself as a man. It's about shifting your mindset from one of neediness to one of power, from chasing to attracting, from seeking approval to commanding respect. Because at the end of the day, a man who owns his value, who puts his mission before women, who doesn't hand out his attention freely, who understands that indifference is power, is a man that people naturally gravitate toward. This applies to women, to business, to friendships, to life itself. The world doesn't respect men who beg for attention. It respects men who build themselves into something worth noticing. So here's the challenge I leave you with. Who do you want to be? The man constantly seeking validation, chasing, hoping to be chosen? Or the man who stands firm in his worth, who chooses himself first and lets the right people naturally align with him? Master yourself, and you'll never have to chase again. If you're ready to go even deeper, to truly understand what it means to embody power, discipline, and control, check out my exclusive community where I break all of this down in greater depth. The link is in the description. And if you got value from this video, hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications because I drop insights like this every week to help you become the strongest version of yourself. Thank you for watching. Stay strong, stay focused, protect your power. I'll see you in the next one.